It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive, you know.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Monday, October 18th, and this is the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. We're on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe, follow us on SoundCloud, and support us on Patreon. So what is happening on this wonderful Monday? We've got some coronavirus updates, current news from around the world, the Sunday Sermon Review, and of course, the segment every Monday, Korea on the Go, with Preston Lewis from America. So everyone, how was your weekend? How was your weekend? Oh my goodness, I had the SS retreat. It was incredibly, tiringly, amazingly awesome. Okay, so I don't know, it's just being with the SS, you just have so much energy. I'm sure you guys had a great weekend, right? You guys did a lot of different things, but I was at the SS retreat, and it was, it was just so fun. It was really, really fun. I was really happy about it. And when you look back at all the different things that happened, just everything worked out perfectly, and God was really in control of it. Even just starting with using my cousin's house, that was like, we just realized that how big of a miracle that really was. That I was asked to house sit at that time, at the same time. Right, the same time as the retreat. They said go ahead and have a party. We had all the kids over, swimming, playing video games, playing cards, just getting to know each other, eating together, breaking bread. It was really amazing, and of course, the highlight is the SS Superstar service. For us in LA, it starts at 10 p.m. As crazy as that sounds, it's 10 p.m. Okay, so it starts at 10. I think it ended around like midnight or 12:30. Right, so 30 minutes past midnight, and then you think to yourself, is there a bigger highlight than that? And then Pastor Joan, basically says she will meet us, just us, right after. And of course, after the service, we connected directly with her. She was watching us. There's like 20 of us in the video. It was just really incredibly amazing, and I don't think we could have made it any better. And put it this way, even after the service, all the stuff, even meeting Pastor Joan ended around 1 a.m. Everyone was so energetic. I'm serious. We all went to like 4 a.m. talking, laughing, joking, playing games. It was just really, really an amazing SS retreat where SS can really break loose, go away, have fun, do the things that they want to do, hang out with the other kids. And, because of the pandemic, people haven't been able to see each other in a long time. So, I don't know. I thought it was like really, really successful. From the venue all the way to, getting down to meeting with Pastor Joan right after that service. So, wow. Either way. So, I'm really grateful, thankful all of you guys joining us here in the Morning Star Drive. I'm going to be honest, guys, I am super, super exhausted, tired. We, the next day we come back to church, and then we eat together, and then we go play sports. So it was, it was tough. It was really tough. And now, I need to sleep for another couple days. I've never slept it was so incredibly tiring, but joyfully tiring, that when it hit 9:30 p.m., I was exhausted. And the service starts at 10. I was exhausted. And then we went straight to 4 a.m. because we got, meeting Pastor Joe, and we got more energy and stuff. So I was super, super happy about that. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us here in the Morning Star Drive. Like and comment below. If you want to ask any questions about the SS retreat, go ahead and ask it. It was a short time meeting her after, but it was really great because all the SS in the Whitestone Church greeted all of us together too. So that was really fun too, right? So go ahead, leave a comment below. Love to hear it. Espresso with Sky, we just had a video last week, and that's on why do bad things happen to good people. Hope you guys really enjoyed that one. Leave a comment just so that we can break that algorithm. And of course, we have the Sunday edition. We interviewed Kenneth Ng from Malaysia, and I hope you guys really enjoyed that interview also. I really, those interviews for me is just... it's gold. It honestly is gold. Don't you guys think? These are some of just listening to these stories is so amazing. So for me, I'm just like, wow, we have these amazing people in this history, right? Also, for those of you supporting us on Patreon, super thankful for Tiffany, also Tim, Tony, and Maria for just supporting us here on the Morning Star Drive. Super grateful and thankful for all your support. And if you guys want to support us too, it's going to be as cheap as $3 a month. And we're here just to bring content out for members. these radio shows, the Espresso with Sky YouTube channels. We just want to do everything together so we're able to bring out some good content to the world and to members also. So go ahead, put that in. 90% of the people on that site are supporting the channel. Not for any of the content, is just to support and just say, hey, we're here to support you. So everything is purely up to you guys. Hopefully we can reach that 200 supporter mark. All right. So let's move on to the feature artist of the day. God, I'm just telling you guys, my mind is so tired right now, but I'm doing this because I love the podcast. I don't know. I don't even know if you believe me. All right. So we're going to start off with Kuma-chung from Japan, and we're going to hear the song Open My Eyes. And I really need this song because my eyes are literally closed right now because I'm so tired. And then we'll go to Mariah Henry from America with Welcome Back, and then Renee Lai from Taiwan with Love. All right. So I hope you guys are continuing to do this 21-day David prayer, and that we can really pray for all these member artists from around the world.
Open the eyes, open the door, open my heart, 見心探して Open the eyes, open the door, open my heart, 未来照らす my way 揺れないで go 揺れないで go どんな困難迫害が来ても動じない強い信仰を持って立ち向かおうファミリーで go ファミリーで go 全ての人を受け入れられる家族のような温かさを持ってゆこう主の御心ファーストで行こういつも主の心情と共に主の言葉を最優先にして動き出そう伝えよう御言葉を実践し挑戦してナンバーワンを目指してゆこう全ての個性才能を生かし挑戦しよう主役になろう伝えたい I'm happy, I'm happy 新しく You are shining, you are shining 伝えたい I'm happy, I'm happy 新しく You are shining, you are shining オープンでこうオープンでこう地域や社会の目線に立ち発展に積極的に貢献しよう近づいてこう近づいてこう全ての世代と距離を近く親しく接したならは僕をなそう縛られてる心を捨ててこう新しい取り組みをしよう主の言葉で心を燃やして動き出そうどんどんチャレンジしよう家族のような温かさで愛に満ちた教会しよう CGM オープンの先駆者として強みを生かし大胆になろう伝えたい I'm happy, I'm happy 新しく You are shining, you are shining 伝えたい I'm happy, I'm happy 新しく You are shining, you are shining 主の御言葉に出会いすべて与えられた何もない私だったけど育ててくれたその愛をいつまでも忘れずにいようもらったものすべて捧げ御心がそう御言葉を実践し挑戦してナンバーワンを目指してゆこう全ての個性才能を生かし挑戦しよう主役になろう Open the eyes, open the door, open my heart 見た心探して Open the eyes, open the door, open my heart 未来照らす my way
Already said we winning, keep on watching now. Already said we winning, not just playing around. defense, offense, that's what life's about. Star player on my team, watch us come back. No limits on the team, sign the contract. Star player put the team on his whole back. Coming from the east to the west, yeah, he did that. So respect that.
What you saying?
Through struggle, we trained hard, and now we standing on the gold road. It felt so low, but welcome home. Send the starting lineup, defenses get back, intensify, no more time to cry. Yeah, we ran the court and brought back the ring. Some me on my mind, some me all the time. We like,
Thought we was finished, but we at it again.
screaming like,
1,000 years, you know we surely will win. It's time to suit up, yeah, it's game time. He coming back like the 4-5. Eagle has landed, no bird's eye. In the suit and tie, he's so fly. It's tip off, now the dream's alive. Making sure your heart and actions are only aligned. Making sure you're only using just God's design. I perform like this to show you I'm shining bright. We know they watching, so we always gotta be cautious. Put the word on the map, that's the only option. Thinking we exhausted, now it's time we blow past. And we got that second win, so it's time to run it. We running through the defense, penetrating, I ain't never faking. Comeback season coming, yeah, we gonna show you who the greatest. Beat them by a less, I showed them there is time for no debate. And at the end, you're either mediocre or you beat the greatest.
what's up? Hey, you think the world is gonna stop us? But wait, the MVP is with us, no bluff. I said,
Some knee. I'm with my angels like a billion deep. I ball so hard that they can't compete. We only going up, just watch and see.
send the starting lineup, defenses get back, intensify, no more time to cry. Yeah, we ran the court and brought back the ring. Some me on my mind, some me all the time. We like,
Thought we was finished, but we at it again.
screaming like,
1,000 years, you know we surely will win.
some me on my mind, some me all the time. Some me on my mind, some me all the time. Some me on my mind, some me all the time. Some me on my mind, some me all the time.
等到你白发苍苍的时候，声音里可以听见你温柔，轻轻地把我带走到那一段时光，我们曾经拥有的。等到我一觉不起的时候，在前一刻听到你说爱我，无论过多久，我始终会永远相信他会在我左右。我的爱人啊，能不能让此刻变成永恒啊？我的爱人啊，希望你时时刻刻将我放心上，一切都是我愿意去倾听，倾听这世界给我的讯息。透过你的双眼，我能看见我自己，我的美丽是因为你。相爱的我们彼此都真诚，感情渐浓淡我都拥抱着。每段离别后，我学到珍惜的事情，让我带着它离去。我的爱人啊，能不能让此刻变成永恒啊？我的爱人啊，希望你时时刻刻将我放心上。我的爱人啊，我这就要走远了。 请把我生命遇见的每一个每一段你都深深爱过的，他们都是七彩的情感描绘出来，让你的生命完整。
And there it is. That is Renee live from Taiwan with the song Love. That's a cover, I believe, from GM also. Before that was Welcome Back from Mariah Henry from America. And of course, the feature artist of the day is Kuma-chung from Japan with Open My Eyes. So let's get into some news going on around the world. And we're going to start off with the coronavirus updates. In the world, over that weekend, we have a 241.6 million total cases in the world with 4.91 million deaths. Only good news is the mortality rate has dropped down to 2.03%. Top 5 countries going by daily infection rates and daily death rates. We have the UK on top, 43,000 cases, 148 deaths. Then you have the US, 33,000 cases, 464 deaths. Russia, 33,000 cases, but 1,002 deaths. So that's really, really high mortality rate over there in Russia. Turkey, 28,000 cases, 212 deaths. And then Romania jumps into the top 5 with 15,000 cases and 350 deaths. Over here in North America, of course, U.S. is on top. And then we have Mexico, 5,200 cases in a single day with 434 deaths. And then Canada, 1,600 cases with 14 deaths. All right, so that brings us into the top 3 news going around the world. And we're going to start off with news, I believe, with China. Okay, so China basically slams the U.S. and Canada for sending warships through the Taiwan Strait. So Beijing's reaction comes after a U.S. destroyer, along with a Canadian frigate, sailed through the narrow waterway that separates Taiwan from China. And the Chinese military condemned the United States and Canada for each sending a warship through the Taiwan Strait last week, saying the North American nations were threatening peace and stability in the region. Now, the Chinese People's Liberation Army's Eastern Theater Command said its forces monitored the ships and stood guard throughout their passage, and they said that Taiwan is part of Chinese territory. The theater forces always maintain a high level of alert and resolutely counter all threats and provocations. Now, China claims democratically ruled Taiwan as its own and has mounted repeated Air Force missions into Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone over the past year, provoking anger in Taipei. Now, already, just in the last month, we already heard that 150 aircraft were sent into the zone over a 4-day period beginning on October 1st in a further heightening of tension between Beijing and Taipei that has sparked concern internationally. And the U.S. military said the Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, the USS Dewey, sailed through the narrow waterway that separates Taiwan from its giant neighbor, China, along with the Canadian frigate HMCS Winnipeg on Thursday and Friday. Now, the U.S. Navy ships have been transiting the strait monthly to the anger of Beijing, which has accused Washington of stoking regional tensions, and U.S. allies occasionally also send ships through the strait, including Britain last month. Now, while tensions across the Taiwan Strait have risen, there has been no shooting, and Chinese aircraft have not entered Taiwanese airspace, concentrating their activity in the southwestern part of the ADIZ. Now, while including Taiwanese territorial airspace, the ADIZ encompasses a broader area that Taiwan monitors and patrols that acts to give it more time to respond to any threats. So Taiwan's defense military said on Sunday 3 Chinese aircraft, 2 J-16 fighters, and an anti-submarine aircraft flew into the ADIZ again. Second in the news, we'll go to Australia as Melbourne, right? I think it's the second largest city over there in Australia. They are bringing to an end the world's longest lockdown. So Melbourne's lockdowns ends this week, and it will have it. That means it's been under lockdown for under 6 lockdowns, totaling 262 days since March 2020. That's pretty incredible, guys, because it's only 365 days, which means that's like 10, 11 months. That's the longest, right? So the Australian city of Melbourne, which has spent more time under COVID-19 lockdowns than any other city in the world, is set to lift its stay-at-home orders this week. Daniel Andrews, the Premier of Victoria State, of which Melbourne is the capital, announced the easing of curbs on Sunday. Now, the move comes after officials projected that the state's double vaccination rate will reach 70% this week. So by the time the curbs are lifted, the city of 5 million people will have been under 6 lockdowns, 262 days since March 2020. right? And Australian and other media say this is the longest in the world, exceeding the 234-day lockdown in Buenos Aires in Brazil. So Australia, once a champion of a COVID-0 strategy of managing the pandemic, has been moving towards living with the virus through extensive vaccinations, as the Delta variant has proven too transmissible to suppress. Now, the new strategy makes lockdowns highly unlikely once 80% of the population is fully vaccinated. As of the weekend, about 68% of eligible Australians have been fully inoculated. So in Victoria, more than 65% of people over the age of 16 have had a second dose of a vaccine, while 89% have at least one dose. So that's going to be, it's good for them that they've vaccinated that many people. And now things are going to be opening up. So that's great news for Melbourne. That's a crazy time, 262 days under lockdown, right? So, if you look on Sunday, just Victoria State recorded 1,838 new coronavirus cases and 7 deaths. And neighboring New South Wales, which emerged last week from a 100-day lockdown, reported 301 cases and 10 deaths. So 80% of the state's people have been fully vaccinated. And neighboring New Zealand, which is also learning to live with COVID-19 by accelerating inoculations, reported 51 new cases on Sunday, 47 of them in the largest city, Auckland. Okay, so that's good news for the people over there in Australia. Last but not least, we're going to go to India. It's something called the Kerala floods. So dozens missing in a deadly India disaster. More than 20 people have been killed in floods in southern India after heavy rains caused rivers to overflow, cutting off towns and villages. Several houses were washed away and people became trapped in the district of Kottayam in Kerala state. Video from the area showed bus passengers being rescued after their vehicle was inundated with floodwater. Days of heavy rainfall in Kerala has caused deadly landslides, and the Indian military has joined rescue efforts. Excuse me. Helicopters have been used to fly in supplies and personnel to areas where people have been trapped under debris by the landslides. And officials said on Sunday, fishing boats are being used to evacuate survivors trapped in Kollam and other coastal towns as sections of roads have been swept away and trees uprooted. So dozens of people reported missing, and there are fears the death toll could rise further. So that is quite interesting because, in 2018, there was another floods there and 400 people died, right? And a million other people were displaced by the worst flooding in Kerala in a century, right? So we'll see what happens with this one. And the thing you have to understand about this area, has 44 rivers flowing through it, right? And it's one of the 10 most vulnerable cities for flooding, or areas for flooding. So that is a top 3 news. That's some things we can pray for and think about also. Which leads us into the top 3 news for sports. Just to let you guys know, I am recording from inside the Holy Sons Love Church, right? So it's my first time ever recording here. If you guys saw my, my Sunday edition with Mason Mendez, I'm recording that one outside, but this one I'm recording inside one of the head leader's office. So I just want to let you guys know, if the sound is a little bit echoey, just let me know. But we, coming back from the retreat, this is the place I'm doing it, or else I won't have enough time. Okay, so let's get into the sporting news. Top 3 news going over the weekend. Well, the first thing is we had a great game from Major League Baseball. It was the Dodgers beating the Giants 2-1, both of them having over 105 wins. So they basically said this was the World Series. Dodgers win on a controversial play at the very end. A check swing was called a strike, and the game was over. So the Dodgers beat the Giants 2-1, and they win the series 3-2. And then they already had their first game against the Atlanta Braves, and they lost 1-0 to Atlanta. So they're down 1-0 in the pennant. I believe it's the NLCS pennant, right? And then Houston and Boston are playing on the pennant on the other side for the ALCS, and that the series is tied at 1-1. In NCAA football, very interesting, a new change in the top 4. Georgia stays on top. Cincinnati moves to 2nd. Oklahoma to 3rd. And Alabama moves up once again to 4th place to get into the playoffs. It's because Iowa, who was in 2nd, lost to Purdue 24-7. Really, really bad loss. And they were number 2 in the nation, and they lost to an unranked team. So that's why they're out of it. And then 5th and 6th is Ohio and then Michigan. Last but not least, in the NFL, there was a game on Saturday that's played in London. They play like 2 of these games a year. And in London, it was the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are winless, But not no more, because they beat the Miami Dolphins 23-20, and they end a 20-game losing streak. So congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, so that is the top 3 news for today. But not only just the top 3 news, we have the top 3 sports news and coronavirus updates. Okay, so that means we're going to get into the golden time. So what are we going to do? What song are we going to sing today? I am so tired right now, guys. Like, my mind is going in another place, so please pray for me. Pray for me that I will be able to do, at least in the next 2 days, I need prayer so I can do all the things I need to do, all the other podcasts and my other, what do you call it? Oh, by the way, I'm leaving to Vegas tomorrow. So actually, I'll be recording from Vegas tomorrow. So that'd be kind of cool and interesting too. Okay, so we're going to start off with Only the Lord Is My Love, and then Connection, and then we'll end things off with one of my favorites, Let's Sing Together. So as one body of the Morning Star Drive, let's spend this time giving praise, honor, and glory to the Holy Trinity.
Cause I miss and want to see the Lord. The Lord is my true salvation. He alone is my everything. All that I am belongs to Him. I'm in love with only the Lord. Lord, you're my love, Savior and King, my everything. You're the one that I love. There is no other. So please don't want you stop by me. It's only you. Lord, you're my love, Savior and King, my everything. You're the one that I love. There is no other. So please don't want you stop by me. So please don't want you stop by me. So please don't want you stop by me. Lord, you are my everything. You're the only one I love.
Two people may connect just by brushing by, but if skin brushes skin, will they just merely 10 years. But if it's skin 100 years. If it's our hearts that touch them together, we should live for 1,000 years. Two people may connect just by brushing by. But if skin brushes skin, will they just merely connect? That will make them turn into lovers. If clothing brushes clothes, it could last for 10 years. But if it's skin 100 years, if it's our hearts that touch them together, we should live for 1,000 years. So then, if we're brushed by God, how many years should we remain by His side, living together? Years aren't enough to measure. We must live forever, tied to each other, always together We'll live in perfect Sing these songs with me. Lift up your praise. Everyone, let us sing. Glorify the Trinity. In a flash, we transformed. We become heaven's brides. We are theirs for all time. Sing about memories, stories we shared. Everyone join in one heart. Let's dance and sing. Since we know the Trinity's endless love, joy is ours, life is happy. We'll live with grateful hearts, thankful in spirit, body, and soul. So as we sing, let us rejoice. We'll dance and fall deeper in love. With the Lord we converse joyfully. This is eternal love. This is heaven. Sing about memories, stories we shared. Everyone join in one heart. Let's dance and sing. Since we know the Trinity's endless love, joy is ours, life is happy. We'll Lord we converse joyfully. This is eternal love. This is heaven. So as we sing, let us rejoice. We'll dance and fall deeper in love. With the Lord we converse joyfully. This is eternal love. This is heaven. This is eternal love. This is heaven.
And there it is. That is Let's Sing Together. Really, really love that song. Before that was Connection, and of course, Only the Lord Is My Love, another old school song. All right, so let's get into today's word study. And, interesting thing. So for me, when I look at the words, the word study for this week's Sunday message, obviously about God, the Holy Son, the Holy Trinity being absolute beings, absolute deities, unchanging beings, love. And it's kind of like we have to treat them properly. Now, here's the thing. This is what becomes very, very interesting because when we look at all the different things that Pastor Joan talked about, I was listening mainly to Pastor Joan's SS service. So she broke things down really, really simply into 4 main points, right? The first point is, why are the Holy Trinity absolute beings, right? And so why are they absolute beings? Because they exist on their own. The question was, can anyone else live on their own without help? And only the Holy Trinity can live without help from anyone else, right? Their own strength, their own power, they can exist on their own. Human beings, everyone else, we can't exist. We can't even be born, right, on our own accord. So the most important thing, right, and this was the important thing that Pastor Joan brought up is they're so they're absolute beings because people can't save themselves, right? That's why we need God. But God exists alone by himself, right? The body just ends on the earth and the spirit just ends in eternal death. But with God, God doesn't need that. He exists on his own, right? So that would be the first reason, the first point, which is, why are the Holy Trinity absolute beings? Then the second point is that makes them absolute beings is because they take absolute actions. Right? What God plans, he will do. The Holy Trinity, whatever they set out for, they will make sure that that happens. And in the same way, too, when Jesus came, everything was fulfilled, and he did it through the Messiah. All prophecies were fulfilled regarding the Messiah at his time. So when you look at this, too, it's like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense, too, because what's another reason why they are absolute beings? Because they take absolute actions. What they say, they actually do. When you look at human beings, we may not fulfill every single thing that we do. Right? Like, I'm gonna be honest. We were at my cousin's house, and there's like so many people there that things were bound to break or whatever. And we broke something, right? And it's kind of like, if we were absolute, our actions would be absolute. We'd be that much more careful. But we're not. We're not absolute beings, and that's why always mistakes are made. And it's just part of life, right? Because we're not absolute beings. The third point from the Sunday message, and I like how Pastor Joan breaks things down, right? The Holy Trinity takes action, or God takes action according to his will, right? So, we have to understand is God is that king, and it's all about how we treat the king. We can't treat him like a friend. The king will be offended, right? And, we can't think, I like this point that Pastor Joan gave, is you can't just think of God as this being that just keeps giving to you no matter what, and they don't do anything else, right? They're going to be offended. Holy Trinity can be offended, right? They will not give to you. They will get upset. And it's kind of like us too. And that one point that she brought up with is knowing yourself and how you react and take actions, then you get to know him. So God really wants to know you. God wants you to know him. So we have to know him to that full degree, right? To that full degree. So when we think about that, how we react, or how angry, or how the things that get us upset and all these other different things, we have to understand that from God's perspective too, right? God wants us to connect, and he helps us to connect immediately. But we can understand God a little bit better when we can understand how we think in certain situations. Of course, not exactly the same, but we can see why God gets upset. Yeah, God does. God does get, that little jealousy or whatever it is. So we have to be those that are so understanding of God. When you pray and connect, like you're sincere and honest how amazing God is, and you say, God, you created this earth, perfect environment, you made me born healthy, then God will connect to us even more in that sincerity that we have. So we need to be those that want to know God's heart. And like I said before, is you have to look at God's heart by looking at your own heart. Things that make you upset, you can understand God. Things that make you unhappy, you can understand God. You can get to see how God really is. So God is the one that helps himself, right? God is the one who's going to help because it's his work. He has to fulfill it. And that's why the point 3 is God takes action according to his own will. Okay, so that's why we got to know him and to work together with him, right? The fourth point is, how can we prove that God is omniscient and almighty? How can we prove that? And the answer is, it's you. You are the evidence. You yourself are the evidence. Sunseem is proved, right? How is he proved? Through himself, praying, realizing, right? By going through experiences with God. So you too, you'll have your experiences to tell people about these things. Why God is omniscient and almighty. Like, just like this entire retreat, this SS retreat, the location, all of a sudden, less than 1 week before I found out we have a new location, we could use it. We had discussions for 2-3 days. We're like, okay, let's just go. And then we're like trying to figure out the schedule, the new schedule. Why? Because we start off with 6 people going, and then it ended up being like 15, 16 people going. We're like, what? And it just blew up all of a sudden. And we had the location, we had the games, we had the people, good mentors, brothers and sisters, leaders that all went. And then Pastor Joe was like, yeah, I'll meet you guys right after. So everything was done according to what God wanted. And that's what makes it super amazing, that we can really say that through our experiences, we can see the evidence that God is omniscient and almighty. There's no other way. Just looking at this SS retreat, it is incredible, the amount of miracles that happen. Now, I would say, well, for myself, just from my perspective, because I don't see everything, my perspective, like 3 things that were miracles. Number 1 was the new location less than a week before. The second one was all of a sudden the number of people going more than doubled. So we have almost every SS going. And then the third one was meeting Pastor Joan. So even that, I was like, oh, God, He's kind of like when you're like looking at God, like, oh, you knew what was going on. You knew it, right? So I was just like, there's only one way to think about this, right? So that's why Sunseem is always delivering the word through his experiences. Now, this leads me to my last point, okay? And this is something that I want you guys to think about a little bit more, okay? Is, I know that a lot of you will probably know that, of course, through all these prayers we're going through, we know that there's like slander and all these different things that are happening constantly, right? And when we think about this, we're like, oh man, what does that mean? So what we need to do is what? We need to understand is like, wait a second, what is going on? How serious is it? Well, it's serious enough for us not only going to 2 70-day prayer conditions, but now we're in a David 21-day prayer condition. And who is David? David is the one that was chased by Saul for 7 years, even though he was the rightful king, right? Which means we're looking at a situation that could be very, very similar. And if you think about it, it's, I think that, when slander comes out or all these other different things start to happen, again, what's going to happen is people are going to stumble, but we are preparing people saying, God, you guys have to realize how absolute God is. Just like David, he was chased for 7 years. You think about that, right? 7 years he's being chased, but yet he had absolute faith in God that no matter what, in the end, God would take care of them. And no matter what anyone said, he would not falter and believe in God. And what we need to understand is the exact same thing. We may not see it like as soon as Korea, because Korea might get theirs, their TV station might play theirs, right? But us, we have to understand is it's possible that, things can happen in a bad way and we have to be ready for it. But how do we have to be ready? We're not going to be ready through law. We're not going to be ready through going to exercise and work out so we can beat up some people. We have to be ready with the strength of our faith. That's the big thing. Things are going to happen all the time, right? And if we think to yourself like, oh, but we're the history of God, how come bad things keep happening? No, think about it. Every single major figure in the Bible, bad things happen. Look at Job, bad things happen. Samuel, bad things happen. Jesus, bad things happen. Paul, bad things happen. Peter, all bad things happen to all these people. But the number one thing that remains more than anything else, and that joy that we get, is that belief and understanding that it is God and only God. There's no one else, right? And that's the thing that we really need to prove to God and say, you know what? It doesn't matter what your parents, what your friends or family, it doesn't matter. In the end, it's just about you. It's never going to be like God's going to be like, hey, you can go to heaven. Why? Because your friend was good. No, it's you go to heaven because you were good, because you believe, right? And, as we see that we're going through these crazy conditions, already 140 days are already done of prayer, and now we're more than halfway done the 21-day prayer condition. What does that mean? It means that we are reaching the next level, right? And we have to get that strength in our hearts that no matter how bad it gets, we're good because God is absolute. Don't worry. Why? Because God is absolute. He takes absolute action. God is the one that will take care. He will not change. He will go until the very end. God is the one that we have to understand at that level, right? Absolute. And look at all of your experiences. I'm even looking at just this retreat. It might seem small, but it was amazing, these crazy things that happened. Right? So I am super grateful and thankful for this message, and I hope it's something that we can all really understand even that much more. Okay? So that is my word study for today. I hope it's something that you guys can think more deeply about the Sunday message, but I hope that also that it'll be able to strengthen our faith to that level more than anything else. Okay? So that is the word study, which means we're going to go into the song of choice for today. And today's song of choice, we're going to go to a Filipino song. I do not know what it means, but I know someone can tell me what it means. It's from the group Budikel, and the song is called Kung May Babalik Ko Lang. Kung May Babalik Ko Lang. I don't know what it means. And Filipinos out there, go ahead and just get it down for us, okay? Kung May Babalik Ko Lang. Kung May Babalik Ko Lang from Budikel. All right? So everyone, please, and the great, amazing singer. So everyone, please enjoy.
Sayang ang mga sandaling pinalipas ko. Naroon ka na, bakit pa humanap ng iba? Ngayon, ikaw ang pinapangarap, pinanghinayangan ko ang lahat. Bakit ba
And there you have it, straight from the Philippines. That is Budakel. That is three guys in that band. And that song is Kung May Babalik Ko Lang. And yes, if there's any Filipinos out there, and I know there are, go ahead, write me, what is this song about? What is this title about too? But great singers. And it sounds really cool and it's moving, inspiring because they're such great singers. But I'm sure if I knew what they're talking about, I would be more inspired, or I could possibly be less inspired, right? But yeah. Okay, so that is the song of choice for today on this wonderful Monday, which leads us to the last section. So on this last section, what is happening? We have, once again, from Korea, well, it's Preston Lewis, who's from America, who's currently in Korea, has been studying Korean for 9 years. He's going to begin, now that his philosophy and thoughts of how to study Korean is done, what we're going to go into now is to learn actual Korean. All right, guys? So everyone, please welcome Korean on the Go with Preston Lewis.
What is up, guys? This is Preston Lewis back with another episode of Korean on the Go. So this is week 11, everyone. For the past 10 weeks, I have been coming to you guys with tips and tricks about learning Korean. Now, some of you may have been wondering, can I really learn Korean? But I hope that you've been feeling through these podcasts that you can learn Korean. You just need the willingness to learn, and I, as always, am here to help you with the how. So guys, for the last 10 weeks, I've really been focusing on kind of the philosophies, the mental approaches to language learning, and these things to keep in mind. And these are things that I've learned over the last 9.5 years as I've been learning Korean. And so they're really valuable to me. So I hope that you can hear them, you can try them for yourselves, and I hope that it can accelerate your learning so that you won't have to take as long to get to these core principles as it took for me to get to them. So today, I kind of want to talk about learning language in terms of last week's message, which is about making ourselves. Of course, the message was, make yourselves according to the will of God and the Holy Spirit. And so, learning a language is also a form of making ourselves, right? And I'm not going to say that it's the absolute will of God that everybody learn Korean and that everybody become fluent, because everybody has their different talents, right? Their different specialties. So if you guys are listening to this podcast right now, I'm sure you all have different abilities for language, and I'm sure you have different goals, right? How well do I want to speak Korean? If you guys don't have these kinds of goals, I really encourage you to think about it. What degree do you want to understand Korean? Do you want to be able to say basic greetings when you meet Senseinim and Pastor Joan in person? Do you want to be able to understand the title of the Sunday message? Do you want to be able to read and understand Korean? Do you want to be able to hear a message and understand it? Do you want to be able to understand Senseinim's message? Do you want to be able to understand Senseinim in his daily life? All of these require different levels of advancement in terms of your ability in Korean. And I think it's fine for all of us to have different goals, right? I don't expect everyone to try to become fluent or to expect themselves to become fluent. Pastor Joan, she mentioned in a message a couple weeks back that there was a leader. It was in, I believe it was Taiwan, but it may have been Japan. But all of the top leaders in Taiwan and Japan, they all speak Korean. So there was a leader, and she was really frustrated and discouraged because she was trying for many, many years to learn Korean, but she wasn't improving very much. So, she felt like, man, I feel like I'm going to die if I have to keep trying to learn Korean. And so she wrote a letter to Senseinim about it, and Senseinim was like, well, it's okay. You don't have to learn. It's okay if it really makes you that upset, and if it's really that difficult for you, then it's okay, And so she was able to stop kind of at the level that she had reached. And I want to tell this story to you guys, not to discourage you from learning, but to encourage you guys to say that all of us have, different skills and abilities, and we should all have different goals based on the level that we're at and based on the goals we have of how we want to run in Providence. What is the mission we want to have? Some missions require us to know a little bit more Korean, or at least it benefits you to know more Korean. And other missions, it's not as important. So then what becomes important is our personal goals. So with all of that being said, the thing I want to emphasize is that whatever our goals are in learning Korean, achieving those goals is hard. It takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. A good friend of mine, a pastor that has helped me tremendously in learning Korean, she told me that I should think of learning a language as a lifelong journey. And that really helped me because I always thought of this end goal of being able to do this or being able to do that. And we do hit those benchmarks. We do reach new thresholds as we're learning languages, but thinking of it as a journey was a very helpful process for me because then it allowed me to realize that I'm always going to have more to learn and I'm always going to be able to improve. You know, this is much like the concept of us making ourselves into the Trinity's counterparts of love. This is something we'll be doing our whole lives. And it's the greatest work that we can do in our lives. Because it's the greatest work, right? It's our greatest purpose. It's the most difficult thing. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. And it's not easy. And in last week's message, God encouraged us, saying, look, I know it's not easy. I know that it's hard to make yourself into my bride, but go to the end. I will help you. So don't give up, but go to the end. So today, in terms of learning Korean, I wanted to just give you guys a word of encouragement, right? I know that it's hard, but go to the end, right? Whatever your goals are, don't give up, don't get discouraged along the way. But know that every little bit of effort that you put in each and every single day makes a huge impact on the long term. So I hope that you guys will keep in mind, the goals that you have, the goals that you've set for yourself, and that you won't get discouraged, that you won't give up, because learning a language is hard. But I encourage you guys to take hope, take heart, and go until the end. All right, everyone, this has been Preston Lewis, back with another episode of Korean on the Go. This is the place where I give you weekly tips and tricks and advice on learning Korean. So I learned Korean by doing these things, and everyone, you can too. So until next week, keep watering that seed.
And there it is once again. Thank you so much, Preston Lewis, over there in Korea, but he's American, for another wonderful edition, a segment of Korean on the Go. And if you guys have any questions or things that you want to learn, go ahead, write in the comments. I'm sure Preston is looking forward to figuring out what you guys want to learn when it comes to Korean, okay? So what does that mean? That is the end and the last segment of today's show. Hope you guys really, really enjoyed it on this wonderful Monday. I am sorry, guys. I'm a little bit tired. I do have my, one second, listen to this. Ooh, that's a hot latte. Wow. Okay. Was that ASMR? Can you hear all that stuff? Like the... Oh, that's so good. Either way, everyone, have a wonderful Monday. And please pray for me that I wake up early tomorrow because my body's exhausted. I went to sleep at like 4 something. And then I woke up at 6:45 to clean the house and stuff and get ready to leave. But either way, super thankful, super grateful. All right, guys, everyone, have a wonderful, awesome day, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm